Hi, thank you so much for joining us today. We are here at the childhood home of Mr. Uncle David Swedlow.
Hello! Good afternoon!
Yay, it's so exciting to be
Perfect
here.
timing, come on in, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you want me to leave that open?
Hello and good day. This is Staeci Whitehouse with 60 Seconds, and I'm here today with Mr. Uncle.
Staeci.
Yeah.
60 minutes. 60 minutes with Staeci Whitehouse. 60 minutes. There was a contract. You signed it. You good?
This is coming at how? Good day, everybody. This is Staeci Whitehouse with 60 Minutes, coming at you live from Houston, Texas, the childhood home of Mr. Uncle David Swedlow. How are you doing today?
Wonderful, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's great.
You got that.
Okay. Yeah, it's just such a pleasure to be with you today. Yeah. I've been traveling with the Wandering Youngbloods, and today we get the honor of interviewing Uncle David Swedlow about his new book, Trust is a Technology. I'm so excited to talk to you about all the stuff you got going or rattling on in your beautiful brain.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So let's talk about all the projects you've got going on.
Well, so I'm recently retired. I'm
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been a project that I've been trying for a long time to get off the ground.
Can somebody get this baby? Can we do something about this? I don't, somebody,
So, yeah, I've been working on this book, Trust is a Technology, for several years, right? And I haven't really been able to give it the attention that it deserves until I retired. And I'm now a bit of a nomad. So the Traveling Youngblood is perfect for kind of that sense of like, where in the world do people need to know about this? And the other part of it is like understanding that it's more than just the words, right? Like there was a way that this was trying to explain what trust is in a way that people could understand, but really, no, it's not about understanding what trust is. We already know deeply what that is. It's the listening to the inner part of your soul, right? The part of you that's moving you forward. Like there's a sense that I am a being just in the world, and I'm supposed to figure out what I'm supposed to do here. Like, what's the purpose of my life? And then there's a point at which I realize, right? So the sense that, well, that there's a practice phase of life, and then there's the real phase. But there's never that transition. There's only one phase. It's all life. It all matters. Mm-hmm. And so when I wake up to the fact that I'm actually doing this, is when my life really begins. It has been in progress the whole time, mm-hmm. and now I just happen to find myself with a microphone trying to explain it. And really, it's just a continuation of what's already been there. And we all know that somewhere, but we got lost in thinking that, oh, I'm supposed to do it right. I'm supposed to be this role. Who's grading me? Do I have the authority? Do I get the validation that I'm doing this the right way? Mm-hmm. And who's to say, but me? And even not even me, right? I'm just moving, just flowing along this river, trying to figure it out. So yeah, that notion, that whole sense of, we've heard the phrase, as above, so below, right? That sense like, it's all connected, it's all a fractal, like everything, like, and that's true. We look at everything from where I'm at to my relations with the people that are here, but I didn't create the circumstances that I was born into, right? There was already a story in progress. And then even within me, all the little things that are going on inside of me, like that, I'm not directing how my cells are reproducing DNA or managing the membrane. That's just happening. Like, so who's in charge here? Who's actually writing the story? Mm-hmm. Now, I can feel like it's up to me. Like, I'm the one at the steering wheel trying to drive this whole train, and I'm in charge, and I need to make sure that everything's running correctly. The train's on time. But when I feel it, there's no forcing the flow of this life. It really is just a matter of like letting go of the resistances. There's a way that life is already flowing, and the only thing that I'm aware of is the way that I'm getting in the way. So all there is to do is let go of that resistance, and suddenly I'm in a whole different ride. Right? It's the same one, but it's all brand new. Yeah. The book title, Trusted Technology, came about about 2017 is when it first popped into my awareness. And I found a little online game called The Evolution of Trust. And it's a little 30-minute thing that looks at the prisoner's dilemma. You may have heard of that idea of like whether you defect or coordinate with somebody else, right? And there's a way in which you can explore that and notice that the best strategy is tit for tat. Like, whatever's going on, like trying to figure out, is it better for me to try to cheat the other person or to coordinate and cooperate with the other person? And really, the thing is, if you're too nice, you'll be taken advantage of. And if you're too mean, you're creating turbulence in the world that's unnecessary. So it's a perfect balance between those things, and there's actually, we know it in our bodies. And so I started recognizing this trust thing, like our cells know this in a way that we're not even aware of. And it became clear to me that this is something that people don't know, but we play with it all the time. And so that's where I realized, we start with the question, do I trust you? And I think, what does that even mean? Trust you to do what? Like, that's the missing part of the contextual question. And the technology is that context, right? Understanding and bringing the context back into the frame where it had been missing. Do I trust you? Don't know.
Right.
Like, are we talking like to hold my beer or to do brain surgery? I don't.
Right.
What are we talking about?
Right. Yeah.
And so it's a very much an important question that often is omitted. We think that we say, "Do you trust me?" We don't have enough context to really figure out what we're talking about yet. And these days, as you look around the world, do I trust you to be a good steward of the Earth's resources, or to be a great participant in the election, or to, be a co-journeyer on this Revolution trip, right?
Right.
It's a good question. And again, even the micro narrative, what does that mean? Trust you to do what? Or what could go wrong, and what is the essence of that trust? And it's not just a matter of a one-time decision. It's actually engaging with that context over and over again and opening it up and saying, I say yes, and yet I notice my solar plexus is clenched like an iron fist. What's up with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it kind of sounds like you're talking about some sort of procedural approach to trust, something that's innate within us. Yes, is this kind of where you might be going with in your book, where there's some sort of like something beyond our own control?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. That sense that I have a notion of where I'm going, and where there's a beautiful aspect of like, what am I trusting myself? Am I trusting you? Am I trusting us? It's there's another question that's at the heart of this, which is where is even the distinction between self and other? There is one, and yet is it real? Like, I'm not me without you,
right?
And yet I'm not the same as you. So how do I actually engage with this question and answer? And there is a constant pressure to try to figure it out, but also a letting go and just letting that flow. So the procedure of engaging with the question ongoingly, like moment to moment, is not getting too stuck on, I think I have it figured out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's interesting too, because we think there is a truth, there is a trust, there's something objective about it. And our current culture trains us really deeply to think about the objective nature of that, and to try to root out the subjective, because that's squishy, that's emotional, that's like unreliable. And it's like, but that's the basis for which I come at all of this stuff. If I'm rooting out, if I think I have cut subjectivity out of my question, my context, then probably it's just in a place hiding so well I can't even see it anymore. And so allowing that to come back in and find the place where subjectivity and objectivity meet. That is a sense of my felt embodied sense of trusting that's different from this notion out there of trustworthy. It's like, am I a good witness to living?
Yeah, that's just fascinating, and it just links up with so many different things that I've been studying, and I'm just thrilled to read it. But also, I'm just curious, how did you get into this studies? Like, what is your background in all of this?
Well, it's interesting. I started off as a software designer, software tester, and actually there's a question of making sure that the software is actually doing what it's intended to do. That started off as a gradual process, but it became very deep. So I have 35 years of experience testing software to make sure that it meets the requirements. But then I also started training in a practice called circling, which is actually paying attention to the in-the-moment experience of what's happening for me, beyond the sense of my conclusions, but like, what is my intention in this moment, and am I being true to that? I've been doing that for 9 years. And these two aspects, in conjunction with working with people, and okay, we now have been doing testing the software component of this. How do we actually check the intentions of the organization? If we're not acting in alignment with what the organization is doing, what is off limits? What is out of tune? And how do we come back to look at that? So I've combined this software expertise with this interpersonal practice to see how can I bring this into alignment with aligning organizations, institutions, governments, people across the world, communities of all sorts.
That's fantastic. So also, we are all brought here together in this room to, through the ways of the Revoluyas.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm excited to hear just a little bit about your background with Revoluyas.
Well, it's my nephew Banjo, who is kind of it's his brainchild, right? And my sister Charlie, Mumsy, as she's known within the Revoluyas, passed on recently about 1.5 years ago, but her spirit and wandering around, initially just leaving Houston to find her way, blossomed a whole movement, and Banjo has picked up that aspect of it, and I continue to watch with amazement. I have been, following from the background, but increasingly like, hey, I think this is my story as well. So it's something that is a movement that's gaining momentum, and I just can't resist it anymore.
Yay! Yeah, and aren't we all just on the same movement and journey anyway, right?
Absolutely. It's a matter of recognizing when you're really on the train, right? That's the whole aspect of it.
Yay!
Yeah.
So speaking of that, combined journeys, it sounds like you're also part of the 200 days, the journey to the beginning or end of anything at all. Do you mind telling me a little bit about how you became known to that within your own realm?
Yeah, again, Banjo, the Youngbloods, the Revoluyas, it's been something that's in my awareness for a long time, and the sense that there is a declarative part of it, just a joining in. And I don't actually know what's going to happen in 200 days, so the way that this is framed is perfect. And all there was to do was say yes. So I'm as delighted and surprised to see how this is going to turn out as anyone. I'm sure it's going to surprise me.
Is there some way that the premonition came to you, other than the invitation?
It's actually interesting. So the funny thing is, I have a friend who about 1 year ago did a 100-day journey. And so it was very much the same kind of a thing. Like, hey, something there. This 100 days has begun, and this will be the date where we wrap up. So I completed that, and out of that was born a serious conversation with people that was called Dragonfly. And I was like, I had no idea, and it didn't go the way that I thought. But what was birthed out of it was a deeper connection. And so the 200 days just like a bump up. We're doubling down on the 100-day journey to 200.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today on 60 Minutes with Staeci Whitehouse.
Forgive me, Mr. Uncle David.
Yes.
I'm curious. I was talking to a friend earlier, and I'm finding that more and more of these conversations are happening in my world, and I just want to know what you think. she mentioned that with all the algorithms and everything that's generating these ads and all these different platforms that are kind of being blasted at us and screaming at us on a constant basis, it seems as though their desires are being generated for us. And my friend said, if desires are being generated for us, it's impossible for us to know what we really want as individuals. I was kind of curious what your take on that might be.
That's a really beautiful question, and especially in this day of artificial intelligence starting to grow in popularity, and the valid concerns and fears about what that's going to do. What's the motivation for these companies that are selling us this algorithmic stuff? I don't know if very many people are aware, but there was a fella, Edward Bernays, in the last century, who originally coined the term propaganda, and he had to stop using the term propaganda because Hitler started using it, and he was like, it's got a bad name, I got to come up with a better name, and so he changed it to public relations, and that's how public relations got its start. And what he realized is there was a way to sell to a community of people what their desires. You could make them want something by hooking up a desire that was deep in them and they didn't even know. And in some sense, he was a genius, that he could read the collective spirit and hijack that, like catching a fish, baiting that hook and getting a whole population on board with consuming something they didn't even know they wanted. And it just terrifies me to think that we're doing the same thing with artificial intelligence. We've hijacked this trust as a technology to the point of it's being used against us. And the recognition of, how do I let go of my addictive response to that lust for control and just recognize life has already given me everything I need. It's a very powerful shift. I won't say that it's easy. It doesn't come overnight. It's a practice and a process that continually resolves throughout time. Yeah, it's a lifelong journey.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Banjo.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for being here in your own home,
Thank
your own
you.
childhood home.
Yeah.
It's just so lovely. It really is. I love seeing you and spending time with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
my pleasure.
Yeah.
It's a delight, Staeci.
Well, since we have a few extra minutes, right? I'm wondering, do you have any extra closing thoughts?
Yeah, I would say that the main thing is that I certainly felt I had no idea what I was doing. Like, what is the actual question? What is my purpose for being here? What's my true mission? It wasn't until I listened to the heating of what universe spirit was saying through me. Walk, and it will be revealed to you. So it's not, if there's a feeling that you don't know exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing, that's actually part of the process. That's actually part of the discovery. It's a part of the game of figuring out, okay, what is it that I'm actually doing? And all you can do is just notice, if I feel lost, well, just turn around a couple times, look and see what else is available to you that you'd not have seen before. Right?
Mm.
Yeah. So that's a good way to approach this journey.
I love that. Don't we all feel a little bit lost sometimes? Yeah. Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
joining us,
Yeah.
and you have a beautiful journey.
Thank you so much.
It's been 60 minutes with Staeci Whitehouse and Mr. Uncle David Swedlow talking about his new book, Trust is a Technology. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.